Hello, what's up, guys? This is TS Football Broadcast. We are back here for another video. We are to discuss the XFL Week 3 Saturday games. First, we're going to start off with the Houston Roughnecks versus Tampa Bay Vipers. For the Vipers to win, I said they needed Nick Truesdale, who wasn't playing, Jaquise Patrick to play good, and they needed Branch to be a monster on defense, and then Andrew Franks needs to not shank. And I realized he was the lead scorer despite his shanking ways. As for the Roughnecks, the wing was pretty simple. PJ Walker, keep playing good. Nick Hawley, play good. Cam Phillips, play good. Sammy Coates, don't drop every ball. Roughnecks defense, go do good things. So it was a pretty easy criteria for the Roughnecks. Tampa opened the drive, started at 41. Ran shotgun every play, and ended up hitting a 48-yard field goal, which is barely good by Franks, 3-0 Vipers. This drive was pretty boring to watch, to be perfectly honest. It's just why I'm not going super in-depth with it, because I was like, holy shit. And then the Roughnecks started the drive by underthrowing a screen on first down, throw a bear screen on second. And then on third down, PJ Walker slinged it to Cam Phillips for an amazing catch. Like, this catch was beautiful. And then they turned it around. Butler ran it for 4. Walker overthrew a deep shot on 3rd and 6. And then they had the worst punt ever. Like, this thing was high and short. It was like 17 yards. I could do better than that. That's how bad it was. I did note that Walker was kind of like hobbling off the field. He didn't look quite 100%. So at this point, I was like, if he has a bad game, I guess his injury was getting to him, because I thought he looked not terrible, but he just didn't look himself on the opening drive. And as for the Vipers, which quarterback did they pick to start the game off with? That is correct, Taylor Cornelius, who almost threw a pick to start the drive off, and then Smith ran it for 10, and then Taylor Cornelius ran it for a first, and then he did something amazing. He threw a good pass. He threw it to Jalen Tolliver, and then on third and second down, he was just inaccurate. And on third down, he looked like he was playing shot put with how he threw it. And then at this point, I made the note that Mark Trestman, in being not completely stupid, decided he was going to start sharing play calling duties with Jamie Elizondo, his offensive coordinator. And I thought that was the right move, because their offense has been flat. They needed a different mind. And yeah. They still made the same mistake, though, later in the game, as I will discuss. But before that mistake occurred, PJ Walker threw an 84-yard touchdown to Cam Phillips. He almost got sacked. And then the 3-point play was just beautiful. And then the Vipers, in their infinite wisdom, decided throwing in Quentin Flowers at this point would be an amazing idea. He ran it. They ran it with Patrick. And then I came to this amazing realization. Quentin Flowers does not know what throwaway means. I'm legitimately sure whoever his quarterback coach is now, whoever his quarterback coach was in college, and his high school coaches never taught him to throw the ball away. And then the Vipers D, because at the punt, of course, because Flowers is on the field, which I originally thought he was their best option, but after watching this game, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I thought Cornelius looked better than him, and I'm going to take a quick drink. Yeah, it was not pretty. So the Vipers defense absolutely slams the returner. They're probably like, are you kidding me? Our quarterbacks are this bad, so they just pound this returner into tomorrow. And then Walker makes a rare mistake, almost throws a pick, and the Vipers hit each other in the head. And then on the next play, Walker's throw got bad down at the line, which was crazy. And as the quarter and half continued, they're starting to have penalty issues. I think they missed Nick Truesdale in the pass game. But Flowers did throw a perfect throw to Tolliver for a first, and then Smith had a pretty good catch, and then Flowers ran in for a touchdown, which was the first Tampa Bay offensive TD of the season. And then they had an end-around 1-point conversion to make the score 10-9, and with the lead. Now, I'm sitting here at this point, I'm thinking, okay, maybe Quentin Flowers is their answer. As the game goes on, this is proved wrong. James Butler of the Roughnecks on the next drive just C-splits and he goes. And then Walker ran in for a touchdown a few plays later, and their 3-point conversion gets to go on the 5 because of his offsides. And then Drew McFadden just plays amazing defense, and it's 15-10 the Roughnecks at this point. And then for the Tampa Bay Vipers, Tolliver proceeds to drop the pass, and then the running back drops the pass, and yeah, Tampa, yeah, just, I don't know about this offense. But on the next possession, the Roughnecks get it, and then Tampa slams pressure on 3rd and 2, but the TD throw was stopped, and the Roughnecks end up settling for a field goal on that drive. And then Cornelius comes back in, hits a couple big throws. Roughnecks have looked undisciplined to this point. I mean, they've had 12 players on the field twice. Cornelius runs again, and then he gets a quarterback sneak for a touchdown. And then Cornelius to Williams on a 2-point conversion. And at this point, it's 18-18 tied going into the third quarter. Tampa has had no turnovers, 2 touchdowns at this point. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I might be able to see a 2-quarterback system win a game for the first time ever. And I was like, holy crap. Now, the Roughnecks got the ball to start the half off. P.J. Walker, in true form, throws a dime to Sammy Coates, who catches it. And then he throws another, really strong throw to Sammy Coates. It's a little underthrown, but I was like, that was still a long-ass throw. But the defender, Kelly, was jelly, and he got pass interference. And then Butler decided, hey, run games are important, so he runs it. And then Plummer ends up sacking Walker, and then they still get a touchdown. Cam Phillips catches it. Big surprise. And then Butler goes and gets their 2-point conversion. It's 26-18 Roughnecks. And then the Vipers strike back with a 3-and-out, 1 drop, 1 great pass defense, 1 run stuffed. And then they bomb the punt. And then flags pin the Roughnecks further back. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, maybe this is good. And then P.J. Walker shows some more arm strength with a bombs away throw that is incomplete. But I wanted to mention it because it was a beautiful throw. It was big. It was a big, strong throw. They ran for 28. He stumbled and then fell. There was a little bit of a controversy where he gave himself up, which I thought he did. So I was like, okay, that works. And then he almost throws a pick on the next play to Walters, which I thought was a really good play by Walters, but he didn't come down with it. And then their kicker, Costello, misses the 49-yard field goal, and yeah, the score stays the same. And then Cornelius bumbles a snap, underthrows it slightly, but they still get a first down. Then they run it, and then Cornelius throws it to Williams. It was just off again, but then he does something rare, throws another bullet to Tolliver, and then he throws a touchdown to Williams on the flat. And then their 2-point conversion, he throws a defender's face mask. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh my God, are we watching good football? And we were. Cornelius, although he hit the defender in the face, I thought it was freaking hilarious. So it's 27-26. Vipers have the lead to this point. Wait. I think I missed something. Okay, I might have said something wrong there. No, yeah, no. Oh. The Vipers... What the fuck? Sorry, guys, I'm trying to read my notes here. Williams on flat for TD, 2-point play, throws it to the defender's face, 26-24 Roughnecks. Oh, so that was the touchdown. Okay, yeah. Okay. And then the Vipers kicked the field. So it's 26-24. And then later in the quarter, the Vipers kick a field goal as 27-26. They have the lead. And then the Roughnecks, not content to lose to the Vipers, charge down the field for a touchdown. And it's an amazing 2-point conversion. And then Cornelius makes a good throw, but it's all for naught. As Houston Roughnecks hold on to win 34-27. Now here are some of my thoughts right after the game. The Vipers have grown. They need to get better and keep growing if they want to win games. And the Roughnecks' second half adjustments did the trick as they held the Vipers to 9 in the second half. Yeah, let me check my math quick because I already... Yeah, it'd be 9. So they held them to 9 in the second half, which I thought was pretty impressive because the Vipers in the first half were doing good things. So at this point, the Roughnecks are 3-0, and the Vipers are 0-3. I think the Vipers are this week look damn good for a team that went 0-3. I think Mark Trestman needs to just settle down for one quarterback as well. I think their defense played admirably, and it ended up just not being enough because its offense just... The defense, I think, needs work too, though. It's not just a, hey... Like, they allowed 34 points, which... The offense... Yeah, I mean, if they'd made a play or two, could have made the difference. Or if the defense had made a play or two. So, in terms of stats... Where'd I find them? The Vipers had 1 turnover. The Roughnecks had none. Oh, here we go. This is what I was looking for. Wait. Where the fudge is it? Penalty yards. The Vipers had 99 yards because of penalties, and the Roughnecks had 39. This is what I was looking to find because I wanted to comment on how undisciplined the Vipers were for stretches of the game, and that's what I needed to find. And it took me a second. Now, the red zone, where the Vipers were 0 for 7 at one point, they went 2 for 3 today. That's 67%. That's the same percent the Roughnecks had. And then for goal to go, Roughnecks 1 for 1, Vipers were 2 for 3. And on third down, they hit 50%. So I think this kind of shows some of their improvements as a team. Now some individual stats. For the Roughnecks, Butler had 7 attempts, 72 yards. Half of those coming on 1 carry, but that's okay. PJ Walker, had pretty much all of his yards come on 1 carry as he finished with 34 yards and a touchdown run. Speaking of PJ Walker, in the air, he had 306 yards. Went 24 of 36. 3 touchdowns, no picks. And he had a 4-yard bomb. So I think he did pretty damn good. Now, as for the receiving core, Cam Phillips was Jesus with 194 yards and 3 touchdowns. Sammy Coates, still 3 targets, 1 catch, 11 yards. I've been disappointed in him. Nick Hawley was, for the most part, shut down as he had 2 receptions for 7 yards. Although, oddly enough, his longest reception is 9 yards. I found it pretty interesting, so I'd mention it. And then a guy named Mobley had 41 yards, as did Lewis. Offensively, the Roughnecks had 2 sacks coming from Cam Bradford and the Leons. They only had one quarterback hit, and that was from Burnett. And then they had 4 tackles for a loss, which I thought was cool. Leones again, Bradford again, Brown got one. He also had a pass defense, and Gates got one, who also had a pass defense and a pick. Overall, I thought the defense needed work, as they gave out 27 to the fucking Vipers. But on the other hand, I'm like, hey, the Vipers have gotten better. Now, as for the Vipers, statistically, Smith had 49 yards. Cornelius had 33 yards on 6 carries. Flowers had 29 yards on 6 carries. And Patrick had 18 yards on 10 carries. And he had a 7-yard run. Also, Cornelius and Flowers both got a rushing touchdown. As for the quarterbacks, Cornelius, 16 of 31, 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And Flowers, 4 for 6, 51 yards, none of either. Tolliver, despite having a drop or two, did have a pretty good game, finishing with 104 yards. And then no one else was pretty much relevant, as Horn was shut down, limited to 34 yards. Williams did break for a touchdown, though. Defensively, they only had 1 sack, and that was from Plummer, which I already mentioned. He did have 2 quarterback hits. They're really good about hitting the quarterback, as Neal had 1, Banks had 1, Watch had 2, Plummer, as I mentioned, had 2, and Whitlock had 1. So it was like freaking 7 quarterback hits. They didn't create turnovers, though, and I think that's what doomed them. So overall, in my opinion, the Vipers played admirably. They fell short. They weren't good enough. And there's more work to be done with the Vipers, but I would not call them the worst team in the league if tomorrow goes how it could go. But there's potential that the Vipers aren't going to be the worst team in the league and go like 0-10 is kind of what I'm starting to see. All right, now our next game, the Dallas Renegades at the Seattle Dragons. Dallas came out flat, 3-and-out. The Dragons, Silvers kind of ran it around, he kind of had some runaround plays, and they hit Austin Podol for a touchdown, but they completely failed on the 2-point conversion. And then for Dallas, at 6-0 at this point, Landry Jones started settling down on the second drive, and he got them downfield for a touchdown to Nagel, and they also failed a 2-point conversion at 6-6. It stays this way for quite a while, but there was not much going on. But the Renegades defense, had some tackling, some pressure, and a holding call killed the offense, which negated a run by Silvers, which would have made it 2nd and 5 and not 3rd and 19, which I believe if that had been the case, they would have scored on this play. As at this point, I realized that their offensive coordinator, they used to have Riley, had to step away, so Zorn has adopted Riley's language as on offense for his players to have continuity. Well, Zorn's more of a West Coast guy. Riley runs, I can't remember what Riley runs, but it's not West Coast. I think he runs a traditional. Not traditional. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so me realizing this, it makes me respect Jim Zorn more. Even if he's not that good of a head coach, I still respect him for trying to adopt someone else's offense so his players aren't completely clueless. And then Silvers throws a bullet pick to a defender. It was good coverage, but it was straight to the defender. And then Jones, he has a double throw. His first pass is bad back to him, and then he throws it for a first down. I thought this throw was beautiful and accurate. And then he hits Crockett for a first down. And then he gets picked off, but I don't blame the pick on him because Nagel kind of bounced it. Was the decision smart? No. But he did get to Nagel before Nagel bounced it up from what it looked like. And then Silvers responded by almost throwing a pick in the end zone. But then he ended up hitting Keenan Farrow in the end zone to make it okay. And then as the theme goes in this game, 2-point conversion, no good. And then to end the half, Scrippling picks off Landry Jones, and the clock is drained by the Dragons. 12-6 Dragons going to the second half. It is at this point the Renegades awaken. They awaken The Dragons come out flat. Silvers get sacked on 4th down. Not a good opening drive. But then the Renegades decide, hey, we got Hal Mummy running the air raid. We got this. So they just freaking throw it like 10 times in 13 plays. It's fucking wild. It's great. You guys have to look it up. It's just, wow. I just wouldn't write it down because it ended with a Donald Parman touchdown, and it was a dime. This was a beautiful fucking dime by Landry Jones. And as the theme continues in this game, the 2-point conversion was no good. But there was a guy open, so Landry Jones should have seen that, thrown to the flat, and they might have gotten it in. Instead of doing where the fuck he thought was a good idea. But at this point, it's 12-12. Now, Silvers has a couple good throws. Perfect throw on 1st down. Has a good throw on 3rd down. But there's a guy on the Renegades defense, Greg Martini, and he does not like those throws. He does not like good throws. So he slammed to Rodriguez, and the ball popped out. And then they have to punt it, and then Nagel has just this beautiful return. Dallas gets in great field position. Artis Payne realizes this and catches a one-handed pass. And then they realize there's such thing as play action. Get 1st down off of that. Artis Payne likes to run it. And this is kind of the theme as the game goes on. Dallas just adjusted well into the second half. They started opening up the run game. Artis Payne, Dunbar. Payne, to start the 4th off, just starts going. And game's over at this point. And then Jones throws it to Dunbar. And then outside of a Wildcat fail, I'd say they had a pretty awesome run game in the 4th quarter especially. And then Bob Stoops elects to kick it with automatic McGinnis, and it's 15-12 Renegades. This lead would hold through the game, but they were not done yet. Silver's first had to throw another check down on 3rd and long, and then the Dallas uses that to have a Jones to Parham touchdown. Parham ran it, and this was a good throw, like perfect throw, and then perfect run. And then Dunbar falls just short on, you guessed it, a 2-point conversion. So it's 21-12. Renegades have kind of just taken control. And Silvers, I had to mention this throw. It's I believe it's 2nd down. He has the worst mechanics I've ever seen on this throw. It was really, really bad. Look it up. It was like 4th quarter. It's some of the worst goddamn mechanics I ever have had the dishonor of seeing. It was bad, like really bad. But they have a 3rd and out, so thankfully it's not a turnover in the sense that Silvers threw another pick. But Landry Jones likes turnovers, so he fumbled it on Seattle's 35. Now, what do they do with this great field position? They're already in field goal range because Frazier forced the fumble. Silvers overthrows it on 4th down. They don't get any points out of it, and it is pretty dire for them from a morale standpoint. And then Artis Payne decides we're going to run over their grave and runs up for 31 yards. But I do have to mention one thing, and that is that Lance Dunbar had a really sexy block on that run. Like, I hope Lance Dunbar gets as much credit for that run as Artis Payne, because that block was one of the best blocks I've seen. He just freaking took it to him. And then Dunbar ran it on a draw and gets the 1st down on a 3rd and 9. And then this guy's name is amazing. Mapanga. He ended up stuffing Artis Payne at the goal line, or in the backfield, sorry about that, not the goal line. And then Mac McGinnis hits a 33-yarder, 24-12. And Silvers just keeps not taking shots, and then Chris Woods decides to dance for the hell of it, and he is the defensive coordinator of the Renegades. It was kind of funny. And they end up losing the game 24-12. Seattle is limited at quarterback, and for this season at least is limited at head coach. Here's the deal. I think Jim Zorn, once he gets an offensive coordinator, will be a little better, but I don't think he's great. He's limited. But I think Brandon Silvers is extremely limited. As I said, doesn't take enough shots, terrible mechanics sometimes. Seattle didn't adjust in the second half, and that ultimately does fall on the coach. They were shut out the entire second half. That's a coaching thing, not a player thing. Now, Seattle has the potential to become the worst team in the league because they haven't improved and adjusted, and they're roughly the same team as week 1, which is not good. I was praising the Vipers for improving. That was a shot at Seattle as well. If Seattle doesn't improve, the Vipers are going to surpass them by week 6, in my opinion. Because I don't think Seattle is that good. And the fact that they've looked like the same team for 3 weeks straight while the Vipers have shown remarkable improvement, albeit they had different starting points, I think that bodes badly for Seattle, Jim Zorn, and Brandon Silvers, and most people on that team. Now, as for the Dallas Renegades, the Bob Stoop, the quarterback OC coach duo of Bob Stoops, Hal Mumme, and Landry Jones, that is enough to win. I was really freaking hard on Landry Jones. I'm still hard on him. But that dude's fucking relatable, man. And he's awesome in the second half. Now, here's what I think. For Dallas Renegades to take the next step, they need to know how to play in the first half, go to the run game more. Jones just needs to get more acclimated to the system, limit mistakes. But overall, I like the direction Dallas is going. Like, all the teams who played Saturday, I like Dallas's direction more than any other team. Seattle, they're stagnant. The Vipers, while I like their direction, they just aren't going to be good enough this year. And the Roughnecks gave up 27 to said Vipers, so I don't think that's great. Because I was hyping up their defense, and their defense lays an egg. Now, as for stats, because everyone loves stats, Landry Jones went 30 of 41, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, the fumble as I mentioned. Parham had 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nagel had 5 receptions, 39 yards and a touchdown. And Lance Dunbar had 9 receptions for 56 yards. He also ran 8 times for 23 yards. And then Artis Payne, the best running back in the league, ran it 13 times for 80 yards. And no touchdown, sadly. Now, as for the defense that shut out the Dragons in the second half, I find that really impressive. Kakaru got the lone sack. He also hit the quarterback and had a tackle for a loss. He had a really good game. Hawkins had an interception and 2 pass defenses. He was just all over their receivers. Alexander also had a pass defense. Davis had a forced fumble. There were some other guys who had tackles for a loss. Overall, a really great performance by the Renegades defense. I'm sure most of that shit came in the second half. Now, as for the Seattle Dragons, 8 attempts from Gardner, 37 yards. 8 attempts from Williams, 33 yards. I don't think they ran enough. Silvers also ran 5 times for 15 yards, and Kean Farrell had 6 for 14. I think Gardner and Williams need to both run it a couple more times. I personally think they should have stuck with one and give him 15 carries and give the other guy 6. Because, they need to establish a better run game. Brandon Silvers, 21 of 34, 204 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. That may seem not terrible, but it wasn't pretty. And I think Austin Poto helped him out quite a bit, as he had 6 receptions for 81 yards and a touchdown. Kean Farrell had 25 yards and a touchdown. No one else was really noteworthy statistically. Defensively, though, they did get a sack, and that sack was done by Frazier, and it was beautiful. He also had a tackle for a loss and a forced fumble. Frazier is probably their best defensive player, especially what I saw this week. I was kind of split on who their best defensive player was, but after seeing that, I'm like, him. He's it. Will Sutton had a tackle for a loss. Mapunga. And I actually spelled it right in the script. Had tackle for a loss. Temple had a quarterback hit and a pass defense. Scrippling had an interception and a pass defense. Martin had pass defense. Igwabuki, I don't think I'm saying that right, but I'm going to go with it because it sounds awesome. Had 1 interception and 2 pass defenses, and Johnson had 2 tackles for a loss and 1 pass defense. Now tomorrow, New York Guardians, St. Louis Battlehawks. That's going to be interesting. Defenders at Wildcats. That'll be less interesting. Yeah, guys. So, thank you all for watching. Sunday's video will be out Sunday. The rankings video will be out later in the week as usual. And there might be a surprise video. So, look out for that. Like, comment, subscribe. Twitter's in the description below. Don't think there's anything else I need to say other than have a great day. Thank you for watching, especially if you got to this point. It's over 31 minutes. It's a pretty lengthy video in my opinion. But thank you for watching to the end. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Twitter, obviously, as I said, is in the description below. Have a nice day, and goodbye.